Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Inderveer Singh from Central University of Himachal Pradesh. Today we are going to talk on module Inflation, the paper from Managerial Economics. We have two objectives to explain the meaning and measurement of inflation, to understand the important theoretical explanation of inflation. We will be discussing 3 points. First, we will be talking about meaning and measurement of inflation, then how money and inflation are related. Third, we will talk about demand and supply explanation of inflation, and last, we will summarize. First, let's talk about meaning and measurement of inflation. Inflation is a commonly observed phenomenon, and most of the people have a fair understanding of its meaning, though not precise. People often talk about rising prices in economy. Sometimes they say that the value of rupee has declined or fallen over the years. Both of these statements have the same meaning. In market, people exchange money for a commodity. The above two statements explain the same phenomena from two different perspectives. Rising prices mean that people have to pay more for the same goods. Declined value of money means that more money is required to buy the same amount of a commodity. Though the meaning of inflation is clear from this, it does not provide a precise definition. For example, it is quite common that price of some commodities in the market may have increased, whereas prices of some other commodities may have either declined or may have remained same. In such a situation, the general understanding of inflation neither help us to claim that prices have increased nor enable us to measure the extent of this change. Therefore, a formal definition must help us to measure the change in prices. To overcome the problem of measurement, an average measure of price is required. Let us suppose that an average measure of prices can be calculated, which represent price level in the economy at any point in time. Given that price level can be measured, the inflation can be formally defined as rate of change in price level in the economy. In symbols, the rate of inflation, small p, can be written as small pt is equal to capital T minus capital PT minus 1 divided by capital P T minus 1. Here, capital PT and capital P T minus 1 are price level at time T and T minus 1 respectively. The percentage change in price level or rate of inflation can be calculated by multiplying inflation small p with 100. Since the definition of inflation is based on change in price level, one needs an unambiguous definition of price level. Therefore, the price level is defined as weighted average of existing prices of a set of goods and services produced in the economy. Here, the price of each commodity may be given same or different weight. Higher weight means more importance and small weight means lower importance. If each price is given equal weight, the price level will be simple arithmetic mean of prices. For empirical estimation of price level, the quantity of a good or service produced is used as weight. The choice of quantity as a weight is based on the logic that change in price can be called inflation only if more money is required to buy same quantity of goods and services. Assume that production of goods and services in the economy remains same. If the money required to buy the whole output is also the same, then there is no overall change in the price level. It is because when some prices may have increased, others must have declined to negate the effect of this increase. In other words, it is possible to have a relative change in prices without any change in price level. Therefore, the estimation of change in price level uses quantity of goods and services as weight, so that its measurement is based on money required to purchase the same quantity of goods and services. In empirical estimation, a price index is used to represent price level. Price index often uses current period or base period quantities of goods and services as weight. In empirical estimation, a price index is used to represent the price level. Price index is often based on current period or base period quantities of goods and services as weight. When the quantity of base period is used as weight, the weight remains same for all the years. Laspeyres index uses the base period quantity as weight. Using current period quantity as weight means a different weight in each year, as a change in quantity of different commodities over the year is likely to be disproportionate. Pasch index takes current period quantity as weight. Since the weight used in two types of indices is different, they provide different estimates of the price level. Some indices use both base period and current quantities. In such indices, the actual weight is a weighted average of present and base period quantities. Fisher index is one such index, which is the geometric mean of Laspeyres and Pasch index. Despite the difference in estimates provided by different indices, they provide good estimates of price level for measuring inflation. Further, the change in relative quantity of goods and services is often small in short run. Therefore, the short run estimates of different indexes do not vary much. Let us take Laspeyres index as an example. Laspeyres index uses the base period quantities as weight. One can calculate Laspeyres price index using the formula LT equal to summation of PIT and into QI0. Repeat, LT equal to summation of PIT into QI0 divided by summation PI0 into QI0 into 100. Here LT is the value of Laspeyres price index at time t, which represent price level at time period t. PIT and PI0 are price of ith commodity at time t and in base period, which is written as 0. QI0 is the quantity of ith commodity produced in the base period and is used as weight calculate price index. Now take the case of two commodities, wheat and cloth, for an example of estimation. Suppose that prices of wheat in the first period were rupees 1500 per quintal and cloth was sold at rupees 200 per meter respectively. In the second period, the price of wheat increased to rupees 1600 per quintal and the price of cloth changes to rupees 190 per meter. Now we need to take one of these periods as the base. Let us take the first period as a base. Suppose in the first year the production of wheat and cloth was 10,000 quintal and 100 meter respectively. The value of price index is always 100 for the base period. For second year price index, multiply the prices of wheat and cloth in the second period with their respective base period quantities to get the numerator of Laspeyres price index. The multiplication will give you rupees 16 million for wheat and rupees 190,000 for cloth. Thus, the numerator in the formula will be rupees 16.19 million. To calculate denominator, multiply the price of wheat and cloth of the base period with their base period quantities. This multiplication will give us value rupees 15 million and rupees 200,000 for wheat and cloth respectively. The denominator in the formula will be 15.2 million. Taking the ratio of 16.19 million and 15.2 million and multiplying it with 100 will give 106.5, which is the value of price index in second period. A similar calculation can be done if we have third year prices. However, the denominator rupees 15.2 million will remain the same for all years. To calculate inflation, subtract the previous period price index from the present year price index and divide it with the previous period price index, that is small pt is equal to capital LT minus capital L T minus 1 divided by capital L T minus 1. In the above example, inflation is 0.065 or 6.5%. It should be remembered that number of commodities included in a price index and the weight used may differ depending on the type of inflation that a person wishes to measure. For instance, the number of commodities included in measurement of consumer price index and the wholesale price index are different. It is because both indices are meant to estimate different types of inflation. The value of price index may increase or decrease depending on the change in price level in the economy. The price index may be interpreted as money required to buy a comparable bundle of goods at different points of time. For example, if the price index in the second period is 106.5, then it means a bundle of goods and services which is used to cost rupees 100 in the base period now cost 106.5. If the price index in the third period is 108, then it means the same bundle now cost rupees 108. The definition of inflation covers both positive and negative changes. However, a negative inflation is often termed as deflation. Similarly, a rate of inflation more than 1000%, that is more than 10 times increase in prices, is called hyperinflation. Now we will discuss the relationship between money and inflation. Money is directly associated with price change. Many pre-classical economists observed that increase in supply of precious metals such as gold and silver, which were used as money in that period, is associated with price increase. David Hume, a famous pre-classical economist, provided an earlier version of quantity theory of money, and which is also known as a price specie flow mechanism. Classical economists considered increase in money supply as the sole reason for price increase. The empirical evidence also showed a positive relationship between increase in money supply and prices. The more modern understanding of relationship between money supply and prices is based on quantity theory of money. Quantity theory of money specify the relationship between stock of money M, velocity of money V, average price level P, and aggregate quantity of goods and services purchased Q. Velocity of money is the number of times total money stock is used within a time interval for purchasing goods and services. For example, V is 4 if total money stock M is used 4 times in a time interval. P and Q can be thought as price index and quantity index. Price index is equal to average price level within a time interval, similar to the one discussed in previous section. However, quantity index measures aggregate quantity of goods and services purchased within a time interval. multiplication of P and Q represent the nominal income in the economy. The relationship between these four variables is given as MV equal to PQ. The above equation is true for any time interval. However, for convenience, we may consider the time interval as 1 year. So M is average stock of money in a year. V is the number of times the money stock is used within a year. P is the average price level in a year, and Q is the aggregate of quantity purchased within a year. Let us take an example to understand the meaning of this relationship. Suppose that rupees 10 billion worth of currency is issued by the central bank. People use this currency to purchase goods and services. Now assume that people buy rupees 10 billion worth of commodities in first 3 months of the year. In other words, the whole money stock is used once in first 3 months. Next time people purchase rupees 10 billion worth of goods in 2 months. It means the whole money stock is used twice within 5 months. Suppose that it takes another 4 months and 3 months respectively for the whole money stock to be used for third and fourth time. In this example, the money stock is used for 4 times in a year. That is, the whole money stock on an average is used each 3 months. Since the money stock used is equal to the total value of commodities purchased, the total purchases in the economy in a year are equal to total money stock multiplied by the number of times the money stock is used. Now, the earlier relationship between P, M, V and Q can be rewritten as P equal to MV divided by Q. This relationship shows that price of a commodity depends on money stock, velocity of money, and production level in the economy. The classical economist considered V and Q as constant, in which case the price level depends on money stock. Though long-run trends had shown association between money stock and price level, the studies have pointed out a much complex relation where all three factors contribute the change in price level. The relation between these four factors can also be represented as percentage change as given below. Small p plus small q is equal to small m plus small v, or small p is equal to small m plus small v minus small q. In above formula, small p, small q, small m and small v represent percentage change in price level, which is inflation, quantity of goods and services purchased, money stock, and velocity of money. Now we will come to demand and supply explanation of inflation. The change in aggregate demand and aggregate supply provides a general understanding of factors responsible for inflation. Aggregate supply. Aggregate supply is the quantity of goods and services that producers are willing to supply at a given price level in the economy. The shape of AS curve depends on flexibility of prices and the wage rate in an economy. If prices and wage rate are flexible, the excess production will disappear, as argued by classical economists. Therefore, the total production in an economy depends on the amount of capital K and labor L and on existing technology, and therefore in the long run AS curve will be vertical. However, the prices and wage rates tends to be sticky in the short run. Therefore, aggregate supply curve is horizontal up to a point. However, the production cannot exceed the point where all sources are fully employed. Therefore, the shape of AS curve will be vertical after certain point. Figure 1a and figure 1b shows long run aggregate supply and short run aggregate supply curves. In the long run, prices and wages adjust themselves to their demand. Hence, the long run AAS curve is vertical, as shown in figure 1a. The vertical AS curve represents no effect of price on supply of goods. Long run AS curve shifts to the left with improvement in technology, increase in labor, or increase in capital. Since prices and wages in short run are sticky, AS curve in short run is horizontal up to a point in figure 1b. It means producers respond to the price change by changing their level of production, where lower price means lower production. However, the production cannot exceed the point where all resources are fully employed. Therefore, after a point, AS curve becomes vertical. Aggregate demand. Aggregate demand is the quantity of goods and services that people are willing to buy at a given price level. Aggregate demand depends on money stock M and velocity of money V. The quantity theory relation discussed earlier can be rewritten as M over P equal to Q over V. If we write 1 over V equal to small k, then the equation can be rewritten as M over P equal to K into Q. Here M over P represents the real money balance. Remember that purchasing power in an economy depends on availability of money and prices. Here figure 2a and 2b shows relationship between price level and output as well as shift in aggregate demand. For a fixed M and V, aggregate demand is inversely related to price level. If there is increase in price level without change in money supply, then it means the aggregate purchasing power of the people has declined, which is same as decline in aggregate demand. One can also explain the relationship from production point of view. A large output requires higher real money balance to purchase all the production. If M and V remain same, the price must be inversely related to the output level. In other words, price must be low to purchase high level of output and vice versa. An increase in M increases aggregate demand and shifts AD curve to the right. Any decrease in M shifts the curve to the left as shown in figure 2b. Inflation may be the result of change in aggregate demand or aggregate supply or both. The effect of this change on price can be understood with the help of shift in aggregate demand curve and aggregate supply curve. The inflation due to demand side factor is called demand pull inflation. The inflation due to supply side factor is referred to as supply push inflation. Figure 3a shows the effect of shift in aggregate demand curve in short run. Aggregate demand curve may shift due to change in money supply or increase in total spending in the economy. The increase in total spending in the economy may be the result of increase in government expenditure, lowering of tax, or rise in investment. In short run, the AS curve is horizontal up to a point. In this situation, the effect of aggregate demand curve shift on price level depends on the shape of aggregate supply curve at their interaction point. There will be no rise in price level if old and new aggregate demand curves meet aggregate supply curve where it is horizontal. At this point of aggregate supply curve, the shift in aggregate demand curve only affects the output level in the economy. In figure 3a, the shift in aggregate demand curve from AD1 to AD2 does not lead to price rise. On the other hand, shift of AD curve at the vertical portion of aggregate supply curve, which shows full employment of resources, leads only to price rise. In long run, aggregate supply curve is vertical as shown in figure 3b. Therefore, any shift in aggregate demand curve leads to price increase. The long run effect is similar to the short run effect at vertical portion. It is because the resources are fully employed in the long run. A shift in aggregate supply curve to the right may also lead to increase in price level. The shift in aggregate supply curve may be the result of increase in cost of production due to rise in wage rates or supply shock. These factors shift the aggregate supply curve upwards and towards left. These factors may shift aggregate supply curve with no change in vertical portion of the curve as shown in figure 4a. This shift increases the price level in the economy. In figure 4a, the price level rises from P1 to P2 as a result of shift in aggregate supply curve. The rise in price level due to this shift is also associated with decline in output in short run. However, the long run output level may remain same if the vertical portion of the curve remain unaffected. The supply shock may also shift the long run aggregate supply curve to the left as shown in figure 4b. This shift not only increases the price level but also lowers the long run output in the economy. Nonetheless, improvement in technology and increase in labor productivity often shifts AS curve towards right in the long run. Therefore, long run shift in AS curve often tends to lower prices and increase output. The change in price level is also the result of shift in aggregate demand curve and aggregate supply curve. In long run, aggregate supply curve generally shifts towards right and prices are flexible. Therefore, the rising prices are likely to be a result of upward shift in aggregate demand curve. In long run, the shift in aggregate demand curve is mainly attributed to change in money supply. Therefore, long run prices is often argued as monetary phenomena. However, a number of factors may be responsible for increasing price level in the short run. So students, let us summarize what we have learned in this module. Inflation is one of the most talked about topic in today's world. Inflation can simply be understood as a rate of increase in price level in an economy. The empirical estimation of inflation uses price index to measure price level in the economy at different points of time. Money is at the heart of cause of inflation. Keeping other things constant, the quantity theory of money predicts that inflation is the sole reason of monetary phenomena. Another way to analyze inflation is through change in aggregate demand curve and aggregate supply curve. It provides a more general explanation of inflation. Inflation may be the result of shift in aggregate demand curve or aggregate supply curve. Aggregate demand curve shifts due to increase in money supply or increase in aggregate spending in the economy. The shift in aggregate supply curve may be the result of increase in cost of production due to wage change in or supply shock. Accordingly, the inflation may be called a demand pull or supply push inflation. Thank you.